One of the hardest things that we could go through is really enduring a breakup. And no contact is certainly something that I'm sure a lot of people come across when they're looking for answers or what to do next. And I can tell you from experience that the reason it's so effective is because you're removing yourself from the situation or relationship as a whole. If someone decides to end a relationship, that means that they're no longer willing to work on it, put any effort, energy, time, really direction to move forward. So another way to really think about it is, if someone is deciding not to continue to move forward, why would you? It's always best to let that person go. And the reason is because you're choosing and deciding to allow them to make that decision, to live with those consequences. And then you're also communicating without saying it that you're valuable, that you're worthy of being loved, being in a relationship, really just valuable. If you chase after someone that has decided that they no longer want to be with you, you're devaluing yourself, you're not respecting yourself, and essentially you're showing that your sense of self-worth really means nothing. And those are definitely important points that you want to consider. I don't think that anyone wants to consider themselves low value at all. And something that we should also keep in mind is that we enable other people's behavior towards us. In other words, if we allow or tolerate disrespect, if we don't set boundaries, then people will step all over those boundaries and continue to treat you the way that you allow them to. That's really important. And it's something that I had to learn a very long time ago. And I think it's also very important to realize that the communication aspect, communicating these boundaries is key. But another thing that it really takes time and experience, and that's the reason why I love to help as many people as I possibly can, is because you don't necessarily have to communicate all of that by verbally saying it to the person, right? And that in and of itself is a lot more powerful. If you come across someone, for example, that says or communicates a certain level of value or self-worth, if they're saying it, if they're voicing it, if they're saying that they're the best, but their actions really don't indicate it, then really just all talk, right? Your actions will definitely speak louder than words. If there are any insecurities or any shortcomings that you may have, this would be the time for you to work on them. This would be the time for you to really take a step back, reflect on the relationship, and see where you can go ahead and improve. And it's important to know what your strengths and weaknesses are, so that when it comes time, if you do meet someone else, you've already worked on any weaknesses and have taken the time to work on any insecurities. That's the reason why it takes two whole individuals to successfully make a relationship work. There's a lot of self-improvement, reflection that we can all take the time to consider after a relationship. No one's perfect, and that's what's amazing about relationships in general, is that they'll show us a part of ourselves, both weaknesses and strengths. But that is with any relationship too. That's why relationships and connections overall, they're very helpful. They're a means of really reflecting how we're showing up in the world, right? We attract a certain type of individual into our life depending on how we feel about ourselves. No one will ever say or do anything to you that you don't invite them to do. That goes back to really setting your boundaries and valuing yourself. There should be a level of reciprocity where both of you decide to move in the same direction. And if that is no longer the case, then there really is no reason to continue. If you continue to do what you've always done, you're going to continue to get what you've always gotten. And for that reason, I always recommend and advise anyone that has ever asked for relationship advice to really look within themselves if they're in a certain position in life where they commonly say that they're continually attracting bad people into their lives. We attract those types of individuals depending on how we show up in life. And again, when it comes to relationships and connections overall, that's the beauty, is that once you get to a certain point, once you get to a certain level of sense of self-worth, and you really respect and value what you bring as an individual, as a whole person, you're really able to then just be fully aware of everything that goes around you. And you'll only associate with people who can reciprocate to the same degree. And once you get to that point, that is life-changing, because you're able to then attract the same quality of people around you, and the confidence that you have as a result of that is par none. I mean, these relationships, again, any breakups, any hardships that we all go through, they do make us stronger, but only if we take the time to reflect and grow from those experiences. And it's unfortunate because a lot of people stay stuck in a loop where instead of taking the time to reflect and see where they can improve, or why the person wasn't a good fit, or vice versa, until we get to that point, we're going to continue to essentially show up in life in the same way. And it's funny because life has a way of actually attracting the same individuals, the same tests to you, and nothing will change unless we take the time to then change how we're showing up, learn, grow, and accept responsibility for it. There's a lot of things that are within our control, and I think that's important to note as well. It's important to remember that once you completely remove yourself from your ex's life and you stop moving forward, that over time, once they start relationships or meet other people, they're going to miss the interactions that they once had with you. Now, this is obviously assuming that you've been with the person for a good while and that the relationship was great and you developed an actual bond. And by you not being in their life anymore, they're going to experience a loss, but not like you did at the onset of the breakup. They'll experience the loss down the road. They'll experience the loss once you've showed them that you're completely out of their life, that you've given them the breakup, that you've completely withdrawn yourself. They're going to be curious. There definitely is some part of them that expects almost that you're going to reach out, that you're going to connect, that you're going to try to fight the breakup. And it's a natural feeling that the person is going to have. They hold all the power. They unilaterally made a decision. That doesn't mean that perhaps it wasn't hard for them to do. Perhaps it was. But they're not experiencing loss to the same level that you are in the beginning stages. They'll only get to that point once time has passed. And that goes back to giving them the space, allowing them to have the breakup and the consequences that result after they've made the decision to end things with you. And with the empty space now, with you not reaching out to them, with you not blowing up their phone, contacting them, they're going to naturally be curious about what it is that you're doing, about who it is that you're doing it with, about where you've gone. And that's where some, Facebook, Instagram, stalking comes into play. But the only way that they'll get to that point, the only way that they'll get to a point where they actually experience the loss is once they really experience and feel a breakup themselves. If you keep chasing them, if you keep reminding them that you're there and that they can come and go as they please, they're never going to experience the breakup. They're never going to value you because your actions are communicating low value. They're communicating that you don't respect yourself. And that's not good. That is not attractive. So you have to remember that as hard as it is, as hard as it may be, and I know, as hard as it may be, if they make the decision to walk away and break up, then you should voice that you don't want the breakup, that you would like to work on it. But if they're unwilling to, then accept it, bid them farewell, wish them all the best, walk away and never look back. That is the only option that you have at that time. The opportunity to talk about things and work them out has long passed. Something that I want to go ahead and add in regards to why no contact is so powerful, other than you allowing them to make that decision to live with the consequences, is because if you truly cared about the person, if you treated them with respect, if you cared for them, if you loved them, and really treated them well, treat them the best that they have ever been treated prior to being with you, right? They just had the absolute best experience because you're an amazing person. Is that sooner down the road, they may encounter other people. They may be in a relationship, or they may just have flings, really doesn't matter, but they'll encounter other people that don't treat them the same way that you did, that don't value them the same way that you did. And with you walking away, your complete inaction is what's going to spike that curiosity. It's what's going to attract them back. that is where essentially all of the buzz related to no contact really stems from. It's this consequence of having them experience the breakup, having them experience the consequences as a result of their action and their decision, and really taking the time to withdraw yourself, looking within yourself and working on yourself, really taking the time to improve. The only way that that person is actually going to realize that you were such an important aspect of their life, how much you truly cared about them, and how hard it is to actually find someone out there that can really deliver the same amount of effort, love, energy, companionship, as if you withdraw yourself completely as well. There's nothing worse than having someone say that they don't want to be with you, and for you to then, instead of respecting yourself and walking away, deciding to chase them and put forward more effort and energy than they are. Remember, they've completely decided to walk away and withdraw from you, essentially discard you. And there's nothing worse than chasing after someone who's already rejected you. The best use of your time really is to then take the time to work on yourself. That's the best thing that you can possibly do. That's the reason why no contact isn't a tactic, it isn't a ploy. It really is to give yourself the time to reflect, to learn what you could have possibly have done better. Really look within yourself to see what you can do to improve for next time. But really use the time to work on yourself and take the time to enjoy your hobbies. Get back to being the same person that you were before you got into a relationship. I think that we've gotten to a point where we tend to maybe forget that relationships are about two whole individuals coming together to give to one another. And that's the reason why it's always best to work on yourself and see where you can improve. Really take the time to self-develop so that you're continually growing, you're becoming a better person, you're becoming the best version of yourself, and really becoming a catch for the next one. And so I definitely just wanted to take the time to share this with you in hopes that it can help you. Again, it is definitely a tough thing to go through in life, and I know from personal experience it took me a very long time, a lot of heartbreak to get to the point where I am right now. And I wouldn't trade those experiences for the world again. But the most amount of growth that I've ever had was once I decided to take action, once I started to withdraw and really take the time to consider where my faults may have been, strengths, weaknesses for next time. And if you have any questions or if you're going through something similar, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help. As always, all the information is going to be in the description. You guys know what to do. Talk next time.